Alright guys, so today I'm going to be covering the new Intel Microcode 0x12B. Not really super in-depth, but just my thoughts on it and whether or not you should bother updating your BIOSes. I personally wasn't going to actually acquire the new microcode because I was seeing some reports online of there being performance issues and stuff like that. But I've been testing it out for the last around half a day now, and honestly, I don't see anything wrong with it. I've actually changed up my entire strategy to the way I undervolt as well, mainly because of how my board works, not just because of the old methods being inherently wrong. But if you have a Lightning like myself and you aren't going to run a fixed clock, I would say it maybe might be a good idea to explore the method of undervolting I'm going to describe briefly. But let me just first do a Cinebench run to show you guys what things look like. Do bear in mind I'm obviously recording, but I'm going to keep as many apps closed as possible, and we'll just go for a single run. I currently do have my AIO set to the max speed, I believe. I don't think I've changed any of those settings, so I think we should be good. Temps wise, not super horrible, but keep in mind ambient temp right now is 27 degrees, so I'm pretty warm right now in my country. Alright, 38.5 more or less, not too bad. I could definitely score better if temps were a bit lower. 79 seems where we maxed out right there at 253 watts. This is accurate because we are using a DCLL that's matching the board's load line, but they're both auto, so that's why it's working fine. But yeah, like I said, 27C ambient temps, quite warm in South Africa right now, so that's why my score wasn't that impressive. But 38.5 thousand, not bad. I think not bad, especially given the ambient and stuff. And I'm pretty happy with how my CPU is performing right now. Aside from R23, I can probably run a bit of Y cruncher for you guys. And the cool thing is I can actually run SFT with the current settings because of just the way it's set up. So that was R23 you guys saw. Gonna go to stress test. I'm gonna go lock in SFT. Time limit, but just do 60 seconds. We're not going to have any limit because we're not going to run this test very long anyway, so 0. So as you can see, it obviously draws as much power as R23 does. Actually would draw more current. I believe it probably is drawing more current right now. I just haven't really paid attention to what R23 was drawing, but yeah, this will draw quite a bit of current. But as you can see on the top of the screen, the core clocks aren't too shabby. Some of my cores are hitting 5.2, some are hitting 5.1. If you're wondering why the clocks look weird, that's because the Lightning has spread spectrum. It does not have an external clock gen. You cannot mess with the spread spectrum setting on this BIOS. Well, what I mean is you can't mess with the BCLK setting on this BIOS. So you can't offset the spread spectrum, Delta, but also Vey and a few others that I believe work closely with ASRock's team. They do highly recommend against messing with the BCLK setting. So yeah, myself and a few others that were obviously offsetting BCLK to try and make up for that weirdness, we kind of have to stop doing that. Just I don't think there's any like danger or anything like wrong with using a BCLK offset if it does boot at least. But yeah, I've just decided, you know what, I don't want to like if it's against the grain and like it's not recommended to mess with the BCLK offset, and he says spread spectrum is tuned well, so I guess I was like, whatever, fine. I'll just take his word for it, and I'll just keep using spread spectrum. And whatever, it's fine. We'll just keep rocking these weird clock speeds. So yeah, we've got 4 gigahertz on the equals right now. Trust me, it's 4 gigahertz. We've got 4.5 on the ring. We've got 5.1 on, I want to say, pretty much one core at a time, maybe 2 cores sometimes. You can see core 0 and, core 0 and 1 were both 5.2 there for a second. And yeah, so we have 5.1 and 5.2 mixture, running SFT right now, completely stable, power limits in place, current limits in place, load voltage nice and low. As you can see, it's 1.06 on the VR VCC, which should be DiSense because that should be equivalent to the core vids. and what the die sense reading would be. I'm not using the vCore sensor anymore because it's kind of pointless having a socket sense reading because you have to make um, deductions off socket sense to actually get an accurate depiction of what the real load voltage is. But yeah, so because we have, like I mentioned, a DCLL on auto and we have the load line on auto, and I have checked to make sure the auto values do kind of align because the ASRock board does use a 0.74 milliohm setting on the LLC3, which, if you remember correctly, was also my preferred setting when I was doing manual tuning. But yeah, so LLC3 does auto at stock, and the DCA load line does match the stock LLC3 when you don't augment the vCore setting. When you have the vCore setting augmented, whether it's a fixed voltage or whether it's offset, for some reason, when I make offset voltage, even if I'm trying to run against the VF curve and not run a fixed clock, it's still, for some reason, it just doesn't work correctly. It's so weird. Like the moment I mess with the voltage, like the vCore voltage, the VRM side vCore voltage on the motherboard BIOS, all of a sudden it just makes things weird. And I have considered running offset on the SVID side, but in my past experience, I really don't like messing with the SVID undervolt because it just makes things like weird. It's not like dangerous. It's just like I think when you offset the SVID, it kind of makes things kind of weird with the Encore and like the ring and stuff. It like kind of creates instability where um like in the Encore more or less. So I kind of don't wanna get into that. I just don't see a point. So the best way I found of just undervolting your CPU is AC load line and KEP disabled. KEP disabled, it doesn't really help things with regards to like I believe Bullseye had said transients for KEP, but also just KEP is it's not a bad setting. I mean, it does help reduce crashing and stuff if you have a really bad AC load line. So, for example, the out of memory problems that some people are experiencing, that occurs when you actually have the issue where your AC load line is too shallow and you end up having a load voltage that's a bit too low. And then, during certain load scenarios, you might just dip a bit too far down and then you end up with that transient low and you have that issue with the out of memory or the Cinebench application error or like, whatever those weird errors are that keep occurring and that, initially started this whole craze online back in Feb. But when you have kept disabled and you have AC load line at a value that actually works, the undervolt isn't too crazy, then yeah, you're fine. You can run stuff like SFT like I'm doing right now. You can run R23. You can do a lot of things. You can do Y Cruncher VT3. I'll show you guys that in a second as well. Yeah, I can see my SFT speed has dropped somewhat. I'm not sure if that's temp related or if it's just like um, maybe AC load line's a little bit too shallow right now. We'll see what the next result is, but yeah, R23 does run consistently at a good score with kept disabled and my AC load line on the current setting, and I haven't had problems with crashing as of yet. I've been gaming. I've been, like I said, running R23. I ran throttle test as well. I'm running SFT now. I ran SFT last night. I've ran a bit of VT3, and it doesn't seem like my current AC load line is a problem. I'm currently running zero point 0.1. I don't personally think 0.01 is a good idea for me, just because I don't think my CPU can sustain it and my cooling as well. I don't think I have enough headroom there to actually do 0.01. Um, 0.01 is nice if you have a really strong CPU. So if I go to Notepad, I'm just going to close this real quick. Okay, so um, so the first thing to consider, guys, is that this was the main cause of and also So I'm going to recommend pretty much everything that really matters. So VT3 you can try. You can do SFT. But let me just write this correctly because this is going to bother me. This is how we write Y Cruncher. SFT R23 benchmark and let's say so pretty much that DC load line. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Otherwise, I would say if you want to keep undervolting via the VRM voltage setting, so the offset voltage, that's completely fine if you prefer that way. I think AC load line kind of makes a bit more sense because it's a bit more intuitive, and I kind of like the way it works a bit better. But yeah, the VRM offset is still fine, and then you can keep KEP enabled. Like yeah, I'll just say it just so using VRM offset voltage to that's about it, guys. So yeah, AC load line, good feature. Let's say some targets. AC targets. Let's say crap CPU. You wanna maybe target something like 0.5. Decent CPU. You wanna target something like at least 0.25. I'd rate. 0.25 should still be quite plenty for a decent CPU. And then I'd say for a good CPU, like mine, I would say about 0.1 and very good. Well, let's just say good CPU, and then I'm going to say, yeah, very good CPU. Very good CPU. Like 0.01, potentially more offsets. A friend of mine on my Discord also, yeah, he can run quite quite insane settings. I believe he's running 0.01 with offsets, which is like crazy because that's like 0.01 AC load line, minimize the load line. Easy for the CPU, and then you add offsets top of that. The CPU just doesn't need even close to the stock voltage, basically what that means. But I would say, yeah, for most of you guys, probably going to be in this range. Intel's AC load line of 1.1 is kind of crap, like really, really crap, like borderline too high. I think you'd have to be very unlucky. I'm just going to say, please keep in mind, like, if your CPU is already degraded. So yeah, that's the thing. But all right, guys, that's the video today. I would say go ahead and update to the new microcode. Shouldn't be any problems performance-wise. I mean, I don't see a problem performance-wise. And yeah, just have fun undervolting with AC load line. just make sure to keep in mind these factors I mentioned. If your CPU is degraded already, then too bad. That sucks, but that's kind of just how it is. You'll have to just kind of deal with it. If your CPU isn't degraded and it's got some headroom, then have fun. You can target these lower values. I'm personally over here at the 0.1 value because I think 0.01 is about to reach, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm already on the edge at 0.1, so that's kind of where I'm staying. I think a lot of you guys can probably reach these sorts of levels. I think 0.5 is more or less what Asus would have set at the automatic AC load line on their old BIOS. So like if you use the Asus board, like I said, between 2022 and 2020 for the beginning of the year, the older BIOSes before the whole Intel baseline stuff, Asus used to use auto load. The auto SVID profile was either trained or typical scenario, and I believe both of them. I think typical scenario would have been around 0.5 milliohms. That would have been like around a 0.5 milliohm AC load line. That would have kept your temps and your load voltage and stuff down quite a bit. I know that some chips did have some headroom. Yeah, I mean my chip has headroom because if I was running Asus and 0.5 AC load line, I would have like 0.4 of headroom because I can run 0.1. So yeah, I would say mess around with that, guys. Have fun with that. Don't worry too much about all this crap with Intel CPUs degrading and like they're terrible and blah blah whatever. Like honestly, guys, I've made 1,000 videos by this point on this topic, and you guys already know what the issues were, and I've already discussed every like possible angle. I've even conceded some of my points. I've even conceded some of my points where I actually realized I was mistaken. Maybe there's more to it than what I was saying, and so we've already discussed so many of the aspects of why the issue happened and attacked it from every single angle. At this point, there's just like really no point discussing it further. So if you guys want to discuss that issue, I guess just if you want to watch a different video of mine where I break it down. I mean, like there's so many factors to it, but I don't think it's as big of a deal as people make it out to be, because like so many of our chips out there can run these like really nice AC load lines and run really well and don't have issues, and it's like so I don't know. It is what it is, guys. But have a good day further, guys. I'll check you guys pretty soon. I've got some RAM content coming because I did buy a new kit from a very good tuner in my country who happened to have this very decent, respectable bin of G-Skill A die. I'm going to show you guys that kit over here. Just give me a second. So if I go to utilities, CPU-Z, and I'll show you guys the settings. So as you can see, this is the kit. 34th week of 2023. It's actually not that recent. Well, I'm wrong, because I'm just jaded because this year went by so fast, and last year was such a crap year that I just kind of I'm a bit jaded because like last year seems so far away for some reason. I don't know. 34th week is not that bad. 34th week is probably like what? I don't know. Probably August or something. Yeah, this kit actually was manufactured sometime relatively late last year, maybe third quarter or something. Beginning of third quarter. But yeah, so it's a 7800 kit, just one XMP profile, pretty bog standard timings for 7800, 1.45 volt kit, and I mean it's definitely stronger than my old kit because I'm running superior settings at lower voltage. So I'm at 1.4 right now, and we've got the same SA value from my old 7800 profile. We've got the same TX value, we've got the same VDD2 value, and 1.4 volts, and I'm able to run pretty much the same tertiaries right here, same TWR, same TRTP, same T4. I have dropped TCK down to 4 right now. I'm not too sure if that could have been done on the old kit, but it's 4 right now. I have the same TREFI values in that same TRFC, obviously, and I've got the same TRC per bank. That's obviously always going to stay the same, but I have dropped the TRD long timing to 8 from 12, and we've dropped the TRCDs and TRAS as well down, and TRP. So we've now on 45s and 30 TRAS. 30 TRAS allows me to do TRC 75. So yeah, everything's pretty much come down timings wise, or all the timings have come down, or all the only changes to timings have been reductions on the timings, so we've just tightened them up a little bit, and we've got less voltage now. So I'd say this is a win. I mean, in my book, that's a win. Less voltage is always good and always better to have slightly faster timing. So yeah, quite happy with this kit right now, but I do want to try and get some more 8,000 attempts going, because I believe, because this kit has slightly more headroom, it should in theory make 8,000 more achievable. In my testing, I haven't really realized that much success as of yet, so I'm beginning to wonder if 8,000 is just like a board / IMC limit. But yeah, for now, I mean, I'm running a good enough profile for daily use, and yeah, I mean, I can't be too mad, can I? So yeah, that's pretty much everything, guys. But yeah, have a good day further, and until the next one.